Welcome back to the Holy Huddle. Presenting your host, Drew and Ethan. We're back with another tier list. It was pretty well received. The last episode broke a record high for a podcast episode in views. So give y'all selves a round of applause. Thank y'all for sticking around and watching that. So
yeah, thank y'all.
We decided to bring it back for another tier list episode. And today we are doing the Big Ten.
Yes, sir.
And the first team we are going to start with is Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Wisconsin coming off, I believe it was a 5-7 years, below a 500 year last year in the Big Ten. And, they lost some key pieces. So they lost a couple of players last year. Their team leaders last year was Braylon Lockey, who passed for 1,936 yards. Howie Walker, who ran for 864. Vinny Anthony, he had 672 receiving yards. Waller had 71 yards. And then the safety Preston Zachman had 2 interceptions. And Hunter Wallner, had 71 tackles. And so coming into this year, some of the top players, I guess, coming in for Wisconsin that could have a big impact for them is a cornerback named Ricardo Hallman. He was a second-team All-American in 2023. He recorded 7 interceptions, which is pretty good. And then he was a quitter player for Hull. And then he was in 2024. It says he was a much quieter. It was a much quieter year for Hallman in 2024. So not as much production. But he comes into this year with pretty high expectations. He comes in basically as a 90 overall, which is their top player on the team coming in. And then you look at, and Wisconsin's always been kind of like an offensive lineman kind of school, kind of,
They run the ball a lot.
Yeah. So coming in at 89 overall at number 2 is an offensive lineman named Riley Melhaman. I think that's how you pronounce it. He was a legitimate prospect, He's a legitimate NFL prospect. He elected to return to school after an inconsistent year in 2024, which congrats to him. And so now he's going to be looking to try and reestablish himself as one of those, big-time offensive linemen for the Badgers. And he's looking to become potentially the second highest offensive lineman maybe in Wisconsin history. He comes in at 89 overall. And so, the way their offense works around the run game and even pass game, I think he could have a really good year. And then Preston Zachman, who we literally just mentioned, who was a big-time player for them last year, comes in as an 88 overall. He was a breakout player last year for Wisconsin. He racked up 58 tackles, 4 pass breakups, and about 2 interceptions as a full-time starter. And he'll definitely have a big-time role with Austin Brown joining him in the back end for that Badger defense. And so, it's actually interesting. He's actually a 6-year senior this year, so he's definitely a veteran. So he came back another
call an ambulance! Call an ambulance!
year. So that'll be interesting. And so we'll see him probably be a NFL draft prospect in the near future. So yeah, he comes in at 88 overall. So, he had 4 pass breakups, again, 58 tackles for loss and 2 interceptions. So that's pretty dang good. And then the next guy,
it is.
And then the last guy I just want to go over because I just want to do top 4, is Nizer Forquin, if that's how you pronounce it. Comes in as an 87 overall, an unexpected returner actually. He applied for a waiver and is on track to he's on track to return in 2025. He will return as a starter opposite of Ricardo Hallman at cornerback, providing Wisconsin some stability after Xavier Lucas left for Miami this offseason. So a bit of transfer transition. So he's going to be in the lineup with Rico Hallman and try and see if they can have some depth at that cornerback position. So that's what I got for returning production.
Well, yeah, that was quite a lot. And it sounded like you're reading your ratings off like a NCAA football video game website or something. Overall, because I was just thinking about the overalls as a video game thing. But I'm just going to go on a limb here. So 26th overall ranked recruiting class. The transfer class was quite stellar for them as they brought in the 14th ranked transfer class.
Okay.
And it looks like they replaced a lot of starters on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced 2 receivers, an Ohio State receiver, a receiver from Ohio State named Jalen Ballard, a receiver from Hawaii, Deckel Crowdis, and a left tackle, Davis Heitzen. But the one thing that really stands out to me is that their quarterback room has no returners.
Because they lost their
Billy,
quarterback last year.
yeah, 3 transfers, and a freshman. The projected starter right now is a transfer from Maryland, Billy Edwards Jr., Danny O'Neal, Hunter Simmons, and a freshman Carter Smith. So their quarterback room is kind of a mess right now. Not any returning quarterback. And when you want success, you usually want a returning quarterback.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't spell a lot of chemistry thing for me. It doesn't really compute on how they're going to do well or how they're going to do.
It's not like a breath of fresh air or anything.
I mean, no, it's not. No, he's not even a good starter. He had 16 passing touchdowns. I mean,
how many interceptions did he have?
6. I mean, he was efficient, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a senior. They'll have him for 1 year. I mean, they're obviously returning a running back, Cade Yamameli.
Yeah.
I mean, and with their offensive line, like you said, I can always see them as a team to be decent and, sort of play through their defense. Because they've had guys like Melvin Gordon, Braylon Allen to come through their school and go on to the NFL at the running back position. But now I'm looking at the defense, a lot of transfers as well. And I see that they're sort of getting them from smaller schools. So, honestly, I think this is going to be a test for them. Because they got a guy from, Missouri State, Central Michigan. They got a guy from Miami, so he might be okay. They got a guy from LSU, Jackson State, Grambling State, Idaho. What is this? I don't even know what this school is. Western Carolina.
Who? Western Carolina. Oh, okay.
Richmond. The Richmond Spiders.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins.
San Diego. Hey, don't play it then. They've been good at basketball before. San Diego State. And just I just see a bunch of small schools on here.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is a team with something to prove, considering that they didn't make a bowl game. But honestly, with that returning running back, I honestly think, can you double check to see how much that running back rushed for? So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. You said was it Ty Walker?
It was Cade
Yakameli, I believe. Yeah. Let's see. Last year he rushed for 274 yards.
Okay, so here's the backup. So honestly, I could possibly see him as a guy that'll be solid, probably for them, because Wisconsin's a running back factory. They just keep putting him out there.
Well, I mean, their top 4 rushers, their top 4 running backs last year. I mean, their top went for 864, like I said, and then you got 317, 274, and then another guy ran for 232. So, yeah, I think the run game's going to be their kind of strength point.
Yeah, they got a 6'7".
I just bit right on the highway.
7 tight end on I'm blocking for him too, so that run game is going to be solid. I don't necessarily think they're going to be the most effective team throwing the ball, with only one really standout guy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, they've never been a really big pass team. I mean,
they've never been a passing team. Never.
No.
But a freshman I could expect to make an impact is a son of an NFL wide receiver, Eugene Hilton Jr. We'll see what he does. I think that's a freshman to look out for.
Gotcha.
But I think just because they're Wisconsin, I think they'll finish around the mid-table.
Yeah, I agree too. And actually, I'll read you their schedule just to get a glimpse of what their season might look like. So they play Miami, Ohio at home. They got Middle Tennessee at home, and then they go on the road to Alabama. That should be a fun one. Yeah, I know.
They
Jump
played
right in
them
the
last
water,
year, did they not?
huh?
They played them last year, I believe.
Yeah, it was in Wisconsin.
It was at Camp Randall. I mean, I think it was a closer game too.
No, that game was a
Oh, never
blowout.
mind. I'm
It
thinking
was like
about their game with Oregon. They had a really
no,
close game with Oregon this past
yeah,
year.
no, it
They
was
can
like
compete. Those guys can compete down in Wisconsin. They aren't. They play good old smash mouth football, and that's why I have them at least making a bowl game this year.
yeah. No, I think it was like a 42-10 blowout at their place.
What am I thinking? What am I thinking then? Ah, stupid brain.
Stupid. I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
So at Alabama, then they play Maryland at home. Then they go to the Big House, Michigan. Then they play Iowa and Ohio State at home. So they got Iowa and Ohio State back to back at home. So two big road game or home games for them. They play at Oregon. That's gonna be a tough one. Then they play Wisconsin at home, at Indiana. Then they play Illinois at home, and then they finish off going on the road to Minnesota.
And that's probably one of the most fun rivalry games, the Paul Bunyan
Yeah.
X. That is probably one of my favorite rivalry games in all of college football. It should be a fun one. It should be a fun season for Wisconsin fans. But honestly, I still think y'all have mid-table potential.
Yeah.
I still think y'all can go 6-6. A one-win improvement should a one-win improvement should not be that much to ask for, in my opinion.
Hey, I mean, and let me just spell this out for you again. Considering you have Alabama on the road, you have to go to Michigan, which we'll get to them in a little bit.
Michigan's an uncertainty. You don't know how the freshman quarterback's going to play.
Alabama on the road at Michigan. You play Ohio State at home and Oregon, and then I would even throw Indiana in because of last year. So you're talking about 4 or 5 teams in which you have the potential of putting yourself on the map.
I think they're gonna, if they want to make any noise, they're gonna have to massively overachieve.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
no disrespect to any Wisconsin fans. Let's just say I don't think you're gonna beat Alabama on the road.
you're not gonna beat the Tide.
I don't think you're gonna be quite good enough in week 3 to pick off the Tide there in Tuscaloosa.
No, it's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
But so let's move on to let's move on to Washington, who So I see a couple familiar names right here. I've seen Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman, I think, was their top running back last year. He produced quite well for them. Mm-hmm. I think he was on the team that Michael Penix was on. I see.
Go ahead.
I see Desmond Williams, who I think it was Will Rogers last year who started at quarterback for them. So it's a brand new starting quarterback situation as well.
Yeah. Well, I also want to point out this. I think the Washington Huskies might have had, probably in the last year, have had the biggest turnover maybe out of any team in college football. I mean, you lose a guy. I mean, 2 years ago, this team was in the playoffs playing against Texas, beat them barely, and then play for the national championship. Then, they lose Michael Penix in the draft. They lose their head coach, Kalen DeBoer, at Alabama, and so they had to bring in a whole new coaching staff. Their roster was basically all brand new. So, and going into a new conference, right? There was really no lead room anywhere for Washington to really have a good year. So I think this year is going to be a very interesting year for them. I don't know if you agree with that.
For certain. But I've always known them as, I don't really know what identity they've had in the past. I remember the Kalen DeBoer days with Michael Penix. At least recently, the past 2 years, they have been a very efficient offensive team. Maybe not necessarily. I don't ever remember them having a dominant running back, but I always remember them having a great passing game.
Right. Yeah.
And they've played complementary football. So
and Washington has always been they've always been a really good pass team. Well, they've been very balanced. They haven't just been a very big pass team. They've been very balanced. And like you said, they were a little bit spoiled with Michael Penix a few years ago, but so for them, let me take a look at the roster.
I mean, when you send what was it, 3 wide receivers to the NFL the year they made it to the national championship?
Yeah. Well, okay. So team stats for last year. So do you remember Will Rogers from Mississippi State?
Yep, that's who I was just talking about.
Yep. He passed for 2,458 yards last year for Washington. Jonah Coleman, running back, rushed for over 1,000 yards. Wide receiver Giles Jackson had 893 receiving yards. Linebacker Carson Bruner had 104 tackles, and Carson Bruner also led he had 3 interceptions in that category. That was last year. And so obviously, Will Rogers is gone.
Yeah.
So now Desmond Williams Jr.
Yes, it is Desmond Williams Jr. who is taking the reins.
Mm-hmm. So he's gonna have to step up. But on the bright side, he's got playing experience, right? They've got a guy to lean on. I mean, he threw for 900. He had 944 yards of passing the ball last year. So yeah, and for top players, you know, it's not like the rating from the whatever the 89 overall range or anything like that. But some of the top players I have for Washington: Jonah Coleman, like we just mentioned, Grady Gross, place kicker.
Oh, dude, I remember him. Like, he was big in there. He was big in that one playoff run. What I remember, he was pretty big in that playoff run they had 2 years back.
Hey, and I just want to say this too. We gotta give our place kickers respect now. I mean,
I think it's getting harder and harder to recruit this kicker position because you just can't find these kids out of high school anymore. You got to go. These kids kicking in high school are so underappreciated, man.
I know, they gotta get some more respect. Jeremiah Hunter at wide receiver. So those are 3 guys.
Yeah, and Omari Evans, who's from Penn State. So we'll see. I mean, Denzel Boston was pretty solid. He had about 834 yards. He's returning. But I see a lot of freshmen. I see lots and lots and lots of freshmen for the offensive side of the ball.
That can be a really, really good thing, or that can be a very, very bad.
I mean, they brought in the 27th overall recruiting class, which is not bad at all. A standout recruit would be Zadarius Rainey Sale, a safety. Rylan Dillard Allen. But yeah, it looks like they've been recruiting better on defense, except there's another receiver, Chris Lawson. But
right.
And honestly, these depth charts are not set in stone.
No.
I remember vividly, they had a lot of drama around Jonte Cook. Jonte Cook committed there out of the portal and then left, and now he's playing at Syracuse. It's just so strange. Honestly, the Jonte Cook thing was a very strange ordeal.
He's a very interesting story.
He played at the same college that Trey Wisner did, but not college, high school. I know they played at the same college. Yeah. They both played at Texas.
And they played at DeSoto together, too.
For 1 year. Or 1 or 2 years. 2 years. It'd be 2 years.
Well, so for Washington, looking at their schedule, to get a glimpse of it, so they play Colorado State at home. They play, have you heard of this team? UC Davis?
I think I've heard of him.
Okay. Well, now we're on the same boat. So both at home. They go to Washington State. Then they play Ohio State at home. Then they have Michigan on the road. They play Rutgers at home. They go to the Big House at Michigan. They play the Big I in Illinois at home. They play Wisconsin at home. Or, sorry, not at home, on the road. They play the Boilermakers of Purdue at home. They play the Bruins of UCLA and Nikhil Imaliava on the road. And then they play Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks at home to finish off the season.
And I want to be as respectful as possible. They have some returning production. I think they are going to. I think they're going to make a bowl game this year. You know,
yeah.
They got They've got a couple. They sprinkled in transfers where they've needed them. You know, I've seen the name. You know, Ugalele. So I've seen a lot of transfers from like Power 5, Power 4 schools. I
Yeah.
mean, they're sort of sprinkling them in there. I saw a 4-star offensive lineman. I think they finish maybe 7-5, 8-4, and make a bowl game. I think they have a very respectable season.
Yeah, I would put them in the probably the mid. Yeah, I would say the mid.
That's what I was thinking too, just because
Yeah.
returning production, but I don't know if they're on the same level as the Michigans, the
I was gonna
Nebraskas,
say,
the Ohio
yeah,
States, the Penn States, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah. So next up, does it look like
USC,
USC?
they are a interesting, they are an
I was
interesting
about to
case.
say this is a very interesting team that Lincoln Riley is going to have.
He obviously lost a big receiver in Zachariah Branch. He went to Georgia, not Miami.
Yeah,
His brother, actually Zachariah Branch's brother, went to Miami, I think.
really.
Yeah. So,
Huh.
dude, looking at their team, they got a return. I know they got a returning starter at quarterback. The same quarterback. I'm gonna throw some shade on A&M for a minute here. The same quarterback that threw 3 interceptions in a game and y'all still lost to him. Jaden Mayava.
Yep.
You don't
Thank you.
sound too happy about that one.
I don't speak too much of it. I don't speak too much of it. Just like we don't speak much of when Colorado beat Baylor on the last.
I'm getting PTSD.
Oh man, you had one job. You had one job in prevent, and y'all still couldn't pull that off.
I don't know why we're sending a blitz.
Yeah. Anywho, we digress. We digress. Anywho, yeah. So, so last year, so Miller Moss, for last year's leaders and all that.
He transferred to Louisville.
Yeah. He threw for 2,555 yards. Woody Marks rushed for 1,133 yards rushing.
Hey, he's gone too.
Yeah. And receiving, Micah Lemon had 764 yards receiving. Easton Marquinhos Arnold had 94 tackles, and Jaden Smith had 2 interceptions. And then we just talked about Jaden Miava. He threw for 1,201 yards. And the offense that Lincoln Riley runs with that air raid kind of just spread out kind of offense, I mean, Jaden Miava can have all the success that he wants. It's just the guys around him.
Well, yeah, and they lost some talented receivers, but a name that sticks out to me is Jacoby Lane. Lots of returning production from Jacoby Lane. One of those very shifty receivers that we get a lot of production out of. I remember him torching A&M in that game specifically. Yeah. He was really good, 525 yards and 12 touchdowns. I think he's a guy who's going to make a big impact in a big way for this USC Trojans offense.
Wait, say that name again?
Jacoby Lane.
Jacoby Lane. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So, some key players for this year. Jada Miava, he's going to be probably their most impactful player on offense, I would argue. And we'll see how his leadership comes about. Micah Lemon, versatile receiver. He led the team in receptions last year, so he's going to be a big part in their offense, in their team. And then, let's see, a defensive guy.
They brought in a really highly rated defensive lineman, really high 4-star freshman.
Mm-hmm. Is his name Devin Tompkins?
Jakeem Stewart. Let me see what they brought in transfer-wise. I mean, their transfer class is really nothing to write home about. They got a couple 4-stars.
Yeah. Well, because Devin Tompkins was a redshirt junior defensive tackle, and he had a pretty strong season last year and was considered one of the team's most improved players. So,
you just don't know what you're gonna get from USC. I think it ultimately all comes down to the defense for them.
Yeah.
If their defense plays well, they will be fine. I think they can finish top 5 if their defense plays well. But that's if defense plays well. I mean, heck, they brought in a 5-star quarterback. They brought in a D lineman. Like, you can only do so much. And I think, honestly, it's going to have to be some of these transfers that are going to have to step up and play well on this defense, or we're going to see another 6-6, 7-5, 5-7 season from USC again if we don't see the defense improve.
Yeah. Well, I think if they have another lackluster season, I honestly think Lincoln Riley's going to run out of time. And just looking at the roster too, sorry, not the roster, their schedule. Start off with Missouri State at home. They play Georgia Southern at home. And honestly, Georgia Southern they've been a very sneaky team over the past couple of years. Georgia Southern, pretty sneaky team over the past couple of years. They go to Purdue. They play Michigan State at home. They play at Illinois. They play Michigan at home. They play at Notre Dame. That'll be a tough one, especially that's a rivalry game and what all that entails. They play at Nebraska, and then they play Northwestern at home. They play Iowa at home. They play Oregon on the road, and they finish off with UCLA.
And this, make or break season for them. Keep in mind, at least for Lincoln Riley's sake.
My biggest concern for USC is because last year they lost some games in the regular season that they thought they should have won, like the Penn State game. The Penn State game they let go through their fingers.
But even they showed so much flash. They showed so much potential. They beat that LSU. They beat an LSU team that beat a lot of good teams.
And they still went, what was it, 7-5, 8-5, beating a good A&M team.
They went 7-6. Yeah.
Yeah. So my biggest concern on their schedule for me when I look at it is you have to go to Notre Dame and you have to go to Nebraska. And we'll get to Nebraska in a little bit. I really like Nebraska coming in. So that's why I say that's kind of scary, back-to-back games like that on the road.
Yeah.
And then Illinois has been, they've been on the uprise in the Big Ten for the last couple of years. So that could be a trick game. And then obviously at Oregon and Michigan too. So, can Lincoln Riley pull something out? I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I honestly think we gotta figure some things out. But if you figure out defense, I think they could have a very successful season, maybe even a top 5 finish in the Big Ten. But
you gonna put them in a top 5 finish?
No, I don't trust them that much yet. I'm gonna put them in the mid category.
I was about to say I don't think I would go that far.
I'm gonna put them in the mid category for now. For now, we'll put them in the mid category.
Yeah. So it looks like we got one of their other rivals in UCLA and Nico Imaliaba.
Yeah, and Nico Imaliaba.
I think this is going to be for UCLA. I think because they've been put in the situation with Nico and all that. I honestly don't know what to expect from them because I think that they are pretty much hyped because of the quarterback they have.
But Nico wasn't even that spectacular last year.
No, I wouldn't say he wasn't bad, but he wasn't lightning out of a bottle or anything.
I mean, they had a 36 overall recruiting class, which is nothing to write home about.
Yeah, that's not even
20 ranked transfer class, and Nico Imaliaba is holding that one up. He's holding up that transfer class to the extreme.
Oh yeah, he's carrying that.
I mean, which they got some transfer talent, but it's nothing to write home about.
No. Well, last year, Ethan Garbers was their quarterback last year. He threw for 2,727 yards. TJ Harden, the running back, rushed for 506 yards. And then Mokio Matiaba, their tight end, had 506 yards receiving. Their linebacker Carson Schwechnager, I think.
Don't pronounce that one wrong. You might get in trouble.
I know, or get called out. Yeah, whatever. Had 136 tackles, interceptions for Brian Addison. He had 2. Those were their team leaders last year. And so, Nico Imaliava is obviously most likely going to be the starter for them, unless something bad happens.
Unless something terrible happens.
Yeah, which we hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, obviously top players for UCLA, Nico Imaliava. I'm looking up right now.
Just looking at their receivers, it doesn't look like they have a lot of returning production at the receiver position. They got a transfer running back who rushed for 600 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, Nico's going to have to carry this team if he wants them to do anything.
Yeah, and that's the biggest concern for me is what other weapons is he going to have?
I mean, because a lot of these guys are just unproven.
Right. I mean, Jalen Berger comes back as the running back. Hugh Lawrence defensive back and Kane Clark as a defensive back. So I hate to say it, but I feel like what's been put on the offseason for UCLA and just all that went on, a lot of it I feel like is on Nico's shoulders. And it's not a very fair assessment to make and say. But at the same time, it's like who else, somebody is gonna have to step up that we don't know about yet.
With the crappy roster they sort of had last year, it's kind of impressive that they went 5-7 in the Big Ten.
I was about to say, because I mean the Big Ten is loaded.
It's gotten better and better each and every year.
Yeah, with the teams they've added and all that. But just a quick look at the roster. They're gonna have Utah at home. That's not going to be an easy game. Utah's a very feisty team. They didn't have a really good year last year, but they're off and on. At UNLV. They play New Mexico at home, at Northwestern. They play Penn State at home. They have Michigan State at Michigan State. They play Maryland at home. They play at Indiana. They play Nebraska at home, at Ohio State. They play Washington at home, and they finish at USC. I just want to get you a clear picture of this. I don't really know how good really Indiana's going to be, even though they had a good year last year.
I think they'll be solid. Because they got a top transfer quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. I think they'll still be solid.
So listen to this 3-game stretch. At Indiana, they play Nebraska at home, and then they go on the road to Ohio State. That's a pretty.
I can see where this season is going to turn ugly.
And I mean, I wouldn't be scared to add Washington. I mean, they play Washington at home, and then they go to USC. So that's a rivalry game, obviously. So
you almost want to put them in the worst category possible, but you don't want to be that harsh.
And also too, they have Penn State at home, so that makes things
And LA sports fans suck, so they're not going to get a home field advantage.
And they play at, Michigan State hasn't been up to par the past couple of years, but
I think they can beat Michigan State.
So I would. Would you say that they have a below a 500 year? Hello.